You ever stop and feel like you're juggling a bunch of different people? I mean, there's the super polished professional you on LinkedIn, then there's the you trying to keep up with trends on TikTok, and of course the perfect life you on Instagram. In this whirlwind of digital roles and real-world pressures, that huge question of who we truly are, well, it's never felt more complicated.
So let's just ask it, straight up. Who are you? I mean, really, not the version you post online or the one your boss sees at work. Who is the you that exists behind all the screens and all the job titles? It's a surprisingly tough question to answer, isn't it?
And this, right here, this gets to the very heart of the problem. On one side, you've got the self we broadcast to the world, all the polished personas and carefully curated photos. And on the other side, well, that's the self we actually feel. It's that messy, private world of our doubts, our deepest memories, and all those unspoken emotions. It feels like we're all living in that gap, kind of scattered across all these different versions of ourselves.
Okay, so let's really get into it. Why has finding a solid, stable sense of self become such a huge challenge in our modern world? Turns out the answer has a lot to do with the kinds of stories we're being told.
See, for centuries, there were these huge, overarching ideas. Philosophers have a fancy term for them, grand narratives, that basically gave people a roadmap for life. Think about big things like religion, or a strong national identity, or even just this shared faith in scientific progress. These were these universal stories that told you who you were and what your purpose was. But today, those big, clear stories have pretty much fractured.
So, if the outside world isn't giving us a clear answer anymore, where do we look? Well, let's try turning inward. We're going to use a really powerful tool called Phenomenology. Now, I know it sounds like a mouthful, but it's actually a pretty simple idea. You understand something by focusing on your direct, first-person, lived experience of it.
And when we really start to examine our own experience of being, well, a self, it seems to be built on three core pillars. First, there's our lived-in physical body. We're going to call that embodiment. Then, there's our unique experience of how time flows, which is temporality. And finally, there's the way our mind is always focused on something. That's intentionality. Let's break these down one by one.
First up, embodiment. So, we often talk about our mind and body as if they're totally separate, right? Like a pilot flying a machine. But phenomenology says, no. You don't just have a body, you are your body. Just think about catching a ball. You don't sit there calculating the physics of it. Your body just knows what to do. It's our most fundamental way of existing in the world.
Okay, next, let's think about how you actually experience time. It's not just a series of disconnected photos, right? It's a constant flow. Think about listening to a song. To hear it as a melody, your brain has to remember the notes that just played. That's what we call retention. And at the same time, it's anticipating the notes that are about to come. That's pretension. Your consciousness is always weaving this immediate past and near future into the present moment. And that creates this continuous, seamless flow. That flow is what makes you feel like a consistent person over time.
And pillar number 3, intentionality. This is the idea that your consciousness is never just blank. It's always of something or about something. You're thinking about what's for dinner, you're looking at this screen, you're worrying about a deadline. This constant directedness, this focus, is what makes you an active player in your own life, constantly shaping your own reality.
So, we've looked inward at the body, at time, and at the mind. But believe it or not, that's only half the picture. Because here's the crucial part. Your experience of being a self, it does not happen in a vacuum.
Right. So the self isn't some solid thing you can just find if you look hard enough. It's an ongoing, active experience. But it's an experience with one critical piece missing from our description so far.
And here it is. The self is a shared experience. Your sense of who you are is literally forged in the fire of your interactions with other people.
There's a name for this too. Intersubjectivity. It's this constant, usually subconscious process of building a shared world with the people around us. Your identity gets shaped by this feedback loop of how you see others and, just as importantly, how you imagine they see you.
And this dialogue isn't just about words. It's bodily, it's physical. When you make eye contact with a stranger on the street or you just instinctively read someone's posture, you're engaging in something called intercorporality. You're intuitively recognizing their feelings and intentions through their physical presence, and in that very moment, your own sense of self is being defined in relation to them. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So let's zoom back out for a second. We've got the self that is embodied, that experiences time in a unique way, and is deeply, profoundly social. How on earth does that kind of self survive in the chaotic maze that is our modern world?
Take a look at this. Not that long ago, a person's identity was anchored by a few really big sources of truth and meaning. These grand narratives we talked about. They gave you a stable foundation for who you were supposed to be. Now compare that to today. Wow, the big, solid anchors are gone, and they've been replaced by this chaotic swarm of smaller, competing stories. Your identity is being pulled in 100 different directions at once by social media, by niche online communities, influencers, and countless different ideologies.
And the effect this has on us is just profound. We experience this constant sense of fragmentation, feeling like we're a collage of all these different selves. Now, this gives us the freedom of multiplicity. We can be anyone we want. But it also comes with this immense pressure to perform all those roles. Our identity becomes fluid, less of a fixed thing and more of a constant work in progress. It all feels so provisional, as if our sense of who we are is never quite finished, but always up for negotiation.
So where does all this leave us? I mean, if the self is this fragmented, constantly changing thing, what is there to hold on to? Let's try to bring this all together for one final, powerful takeaway. So here it is. This is the crucial shift in thinking. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. We go searching for our true self as if it's some hidden treasure we need to find. But the self is not a thing to be found. It's a process to be navigated. It's an activity, not an artifact.
Okay, so how do we get better at navigating? The thinkers behind these ideas actually give us a couple of tools. First is reflexivity. That's the skill of just stepping back and noticing the stories and the assumptions that are shaping you without you even realizing it. And second is dialogical engagement. That means intentionally seeking out and truly listening to people with different perspectives, so you don't get trapped in your own little echo chamber.
In the end, maybe the best way to think about yourself is as a story. It's a narrative that's being co-written every single day, by your body, by your experiences in time, and by your relationships with others, all of it happening against the chaotic backdrop of our modern world. So the final question isn't really, who are you? It's who are you becoming? If yourself is a story, are you writing a good one?